Good morning. Welcome back to Breakfast Television. Thanks for starting your day with us. Carla Hercinna from St. Mary's Nursery joining us for this week's Green Thumb segment. Good morning.
Good morning.
First of all, we're going to start with a question because it's one that many probably have at the top of their minds. So it comes in from Ashley, and she says, I've never planted flowers before. Is it too late to start this year? And should I start with annuals or perennials?
It's never too late for gardening. We still have a lot of people that are starting to begin to garden. So Ashley, go ahead. You can do your containers. You can get growing and get going into the gardens, whether it's an annual or a perennial, because annuals, a lot of people like to get them started now. Okay. But even through the season, some people think, you know what, I want to tuck something new in. So they'll put something in, or they have a special event and they're starting to make a different container. Because just when you visit the garden centers, you'll find that the sizes of the plants will be a little different than when you first off early April. Now the garden centers will have larger plants so that you can make those instant drop pots. And the same with perennial gardening and perennials and trees and shrubs. You can go right through till fall.
So how do you go about choosing? I mean, if your yard is a blank canvas, do you want to just go maybe for a color you like, or?
Well, generally you want to, if it's landscaping for a yard, you definitely want to start with a plan. So there's almost a destination of sort of figuring out where you're starting. And it's a lot different when you're going from a mature yard to a yard that has like nothing. So if it's a completely mature yard, there is tweaking. So you may want to take advisory from a designer or something to see how it is, or bring in some pictures. The easiest way to do it is a lot of times we say, take a photograph. You know, you can give those pan views of your yard, and bring us a pan view of your yard, and we're definitely there to give you some tips and tricks of how you can do and be successful in your yard.
Because it can be a little overwhelming if you are like Ashley and you're just starting out. Or
you know what, it is. It can be a little bit overwhelming. That's why it's sort of the guidance. And that's sometimes just getting a little bit of a book where you can flip through and say, I like this or I like this. Because it's going to be your yard or Ashley's yard, and you want to design it and you want the same sort of color and feel that it is. Because gardens really take on a personality of who you are.
That's a nice way of looking at it. Yeah. Show your personality in your yard. And what if you made some mistakes? Like, for instance, I planted some impatiens thinking it was shady in one spot, but it's actually quite sunny, and impatiens don't do well in the sun. Is it easy to move things at this point, or are they kind of set in their pots?
No, you can always, annuals, you can always lift and move them in different locations. When you do that, though, you want to make sure that you're doing it in the cool of the day or the cool of the evening, and then transplant. Put a little bit, again, we talked about amendments and putting some nutrients in with roots. We always want to take care of those roots, so a little bit of bone meal in the bottom, and then make sure we get it water and care until those roots get anchored in again.
Excellent advice. Well, coming up in just a couple minutes, Carla's going to be back talking about if you do want to get started, or maybe you're looking for something that looks great, but you don't have the time to maintain it or the interest. These are all fantastic suggestions. We're going to go through what you need to know for a beautiful maintenance-free garden coming up on BT.
BT's Green Thumb, brought to you by St. Mary's Nursery, every Wednesday morning on Breakfast Television.